In this episode of the Tiny Barn Conversion, I'm going to show you how we took this blocked up opening and this garage door and turned them into this beautiful window and these stunning double doors. So this is the gable end of the barn. This here was once an opening, and you can see it up at the top. You've got the original lintel going across, so we're hoping to keep that intact. I'm going to rip out all of these blocks down to about this level here, and then we're going to reinstate the opening, but put a double glazing window in there. It'll let in loads of light and there'll be views out to the mountains as well. I think it's going to be a really lovely feature of the build. So today's job is to take out some of these blocks. What I'm hoping is there's going to be a nice straight line up there, a nice straight line up there. The chances are it won't be straight, but hopefully nothing will fall down. So this is what it looks like from the outside. We've got another lintel at the top, nice piece of slate, some big old blocks either side as well. So I'm hoping it's going to be quite a straight line down each side, and then down at the bottom we'll put in some sort of sill. I'm hoping it's going to be slate, and at some point we're going to repoint this whole wall, but for now we're going to try and take out these bricks and see what we find. I'm definitely going to need some scaffolding over the next couple of months, so I could hire it for 70-80 quid a week, but to take the pressure off and also basically to save myself some money, I've bought some scaffolding off Facebook Marketplace. £200. It's old, it's a little bit rusty, but hopefully it's going to do the job, and it'll mean I'm not having to go down to the hire shop and back, wasting time as well. So the first job is to get that scaffolding up to the height of here, and we'll see how sturdy it is. I was very lucky to have my dad give me a hand for a couple of days, and the first task was erecting the scaffolding. With no manual, we had to improvise. What ensued was like a scene from Laurel and Hardy crossed with the Chuckle Brothers, but we got there in the end. We're going to start knocking out the blocks. So we've been going at the hole for a good couple of hours now, and as you can see, we have made some headway. There's a big storm brewing for tomorrow. It's going to be coming from the east, so through the window. So made the decision to stop now whilst we're ahead, and so we can keep the barn weatherproof, certainly for the next 48 hours, but we made good progress. It's an absolutely miserable day today. So I'm hoping to do some things inside, the first of which is going to be removing this lintel above the door, because we're going to be replacing these two steel doors with the French doors. So I need to take this up because the whole floor is going to be coming up to about this height, having to make sure that the rafters above have something to sit on. So I'm going to replace this timber here with something a bit more suitable and brace these 5 rafters, so then we can take down the lintels and the roof won't fall in, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Look at this bit of wood we've just uncovered above the door. Beautiful. And then here's what the existing lintels look like. I'm going to take this bit of slate out, hopefully use it for something. Then it's a final skin just there to the outside. We're not doing that today because it's blowing a hoolie. So we're unblocking the doorway here. We've got to take this lintel out and take it up to about this level. So I've put this piece of wood here just to support the rafters. Obviously the plate here is looking a little bit rotten. So the plan is to put a lintel in above this, but it's all going to come up. It's all going to come up to about this height. We have daylight. the first hole. Oh, this is scary. So what have we done so far? Look at that view. Wow. The window opening is now complete. Check it out, look at the view. Absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to get the glass in. Here's the temporary covering we built. Not the prettiest, but it did the job. The new hole made an excellent access point to the barn. I couldn't resist jumping through it, one of very few people ever to do that. The sides took some cleaning up, which was surprisingly satisfying, if a little disconcerting, especially when the larger chunks started dropping out. I knew that once the window was in, any imperfections in the sides would be harder to rectify, so I did as much of this work, including repointing, before the window arrived. In this clip, I'm showing where the lintel will go. And this is a frame I made with the exact dimensions of the window. I could then offer this up to the opening and ensure I didn't take too much of the opening away. So as I've removed some stones from below the window frame, some of them just crumbled away. The mortar was just not up to scratch at all. So I'm just having to build it back up. So I've got my laser level in place here, which marks the bottom of the window frame. And I've made the mock-up frame here. I've put it into place. Then I'm just attaching some of these stones. I'm actually attaching them with cement, but on in the middle of the wall. And the reason being, I don't want any of this cement in the gaps on the outside. So I'm gonna eventually render all this in one colour, and it's going to be lime render, and it's going to cover the whole wall, and I want it all to be the same. So I'm just attaching the rocks themselves in the centre and leaving the gap there for the render afterwards. So this is an old bit of slate. We've got loads of bits of slate knocking around in the garden, and we're actually going to cut this bit down to use as a sill at the bottom of the window. So I've marked it out. I've actually used a little cardboard template. So this is the template, and it's really important. Obviously, I've got this nice edge along here. This is the piece of slate that we want to use. That I measure it out first. I can just place this on top at the right height. It's really important. It's the right height in the cavity, and then place it on, cut it out, and then I know it'll definitely fit. So I've cut the piece of slate for the windowsill, and I've just offered it up, and that's the correct height. And it's supposed to be marked on this side, the correct height, marked on this side. I've also got a 3-inch mark there and a 3-inch mark there. Quite happy with it, how it looks. So I've just got a couple of gaps to fill underneath there. I just build the bed up slightly, and then going to make sure there's a bit of a slope going down that way so it tips off any water, and then good to set it in. So I've put the bed of concrete down, laid this on top, made sure that it's level. Obviously this piece of slate is very wonky, so finding the point at which it is actually level is quite the challenge. But I've got a mark here which is 3 inches from the front of the sill, then another 3 inches back, which is going to be the front of the window. So it's best obviously that it's level where the window's going in. So it's bang on level there, really happy with it. Just before I let the mortar set underneath the windowsill, I'm just going to check with my frame just to ensure that everything's all right and that I've got a gap all the way around. There's plenty of gap here, but I'll put in a 5mm spacer there. And there's a nice gap here as well. There's about a 5mm here, which is the smallest part of this lintel. It does go up and down a bit, but that's absolutely fine. So really happy with it. Today on the tiny barn conversion, we're getting rid of these doors, replacing them with French doors. Super excited. We've got a couple of guys coming over. We've had the doors actually ordered for a long time, but obviously there's prep work to do, so we've had to remove the lintels above here, and it's actually going to go up. See, I built a little step there, this row of bricks. So the windows themselves are going to sit on top of that and go higher than this up to sort of here. So yeah, super excited for that. Just got to remove that, remove the door, ready for the guys to come and fit them. Again, it's one of those jobs that it's not my expertise, particularly on a building of this age. So getting the experts in, fitting the doors, and they're doing a trade fit, which means it won't be entirely finished, so I'll have to do some finishing off. But yeah, they're coming around soon, and fingers crossed it all goes to plan. So the sill is in, just need to clean it up a bit, and a little bit of pointing that I did last night, just got to tidy that up. But we are ready for the window to go in. Very excited. So there's the sill, all cleaned up, really happy with it. So the window's going to sit about here, so 3 inches to the edge, 3 inches in, all the way along. It's obviously sloping that way, so water will run off it, nice and level. The other way, yeah, all good. So the final task on the front was removing the old barn door. It's got the frame in there, the sill. Guys are just getting it plumb. You can see how much the guys have had to pack it out at the sides. The gap all the way to the top, down this side as well. It's alright this side. So here is the window in situ. Once level, they are fitted with concrete screws all around the frame. We decided a stubby sill would be best. And just like that, we have doors. Oh, they've done a great job. Absolutely fabulous. Look at that blue sky. And here's the window. Obviously a bit of trim to put around the outside, but absolutely thrilled to bits. You sort of get an idea of what the view's like from the window. And here's the inside of the window with that blue sky. Wow. There were still some holes in the wall, so I had to retrofit a couple of stones. For this, I used concrete, ensuring an inch or so for pointing around each stone. This is probably not very conventional, but sometimes that's just the way it goes. On the window, there were still a few finishing jobs to do. The first was siliconing. We couldn't be more happy with the doors and the window. All of the hard work paid off, and the outside of the barn was now really starting to take shape. If you've enjoyed this video, please like it and make sure you subscribe to the channel to get notified when the next video goes live. Thanks for watching.